Oh, because I
Welcome
turned the
to the
ring light
show.
all the way up and now it's like glaring in my eyes. Ah! Hello, everybody.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm Alasdair,
I'm Marguerite.
and we're very shiny today.
Today we are shiny. Really? That's what we're rolling with?
I was going to try luminescent.
I should really turn that down a little bit. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not a vampire, but... Okay, God, fine. All right. I'm also very pale, but that's okay.
Okay, hello, welcome to the show. How are you?
He wanted an award.
I won an award.
We're going to talk about it later.
It was quite a weekend.
It was a very, very... See? I challenged David. You can't see him right now, but he's making faces at Alasdair
And
until
applauding.
he's live.
Thank you.
So this will be glorious. All right, so we should hurry up and introduce our amazing guests for the evening. After the break, we will talk all about the award. We'll talk about all sorts of exciting stuff, some conversations we've been having with our mods, and the amazing sneak peek, first glance, exclusive
For Secret of St. Kilda.
St. Kilda trailer, which we're going to be debuting tonight, which is amazing.
And that was a fantastic piece of fan art we opened with as well.
Oh, yes, because it is, as someone in the chat pointed out, I forget who it was, apologies in advance, it is both Lonely Eyes Week, I think it may have been last week, but it's honorary Lonely Eyes Week this week as far as I'm concerned, and Fat Bear Week, both at the same time. And that's freaking amazing. Thank you so much for the cheer, JJ. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
and
JJ.
yes, tonight is the exclusive first reveal of the St. Kilda trailer, the Secret of St. Kilda trailer. And I'm told it's not so much a trailer as it is the opening of the podcast.
I'm lovely. My character is
It's going
delightful.
to be very, very fun. So, but first, we have two amazing people joining. I'm just going to say amazing all day.
Do
I've
it.
become
Embrace
very
the
white
squeak.
lady. Amazing.
Amazing.
It's because I had a pumpkin spice latte today, so I'm a little wired. It was a really big one. Our amazing guests. See, I did it again. Our fantastic, luminous, talented, brilliant guests. There we go. I work good too. Are David Devereux and Sarah Grant, who, as we are not only collaborative partners in their creative work, but, you know, they're quite fond of each other and live together. Are you guys married? I have to ask if you're actually married. I've never gotten around to asking that. Oh, I see rings! We're being shown rings!
Congratulations.
Should we put them on screen and show you
We should
rings?
just put them on
Okay,
screen. We'll just put them on screen.
We're going to put our headphones
Hi
on.
guys, this
and
is the
then-
point where we subtly tell you that you're about to come on and we put our headphones on and no one notices because we're professionals. Hello!
Hold on just a second, I have to push the button! There you are! Alright, you may talk now, you're on the camera. Here are David and Sarah. Woo! Okay, fine. Okay, show us your rings, because you're actually married, right? I feel awful,
we
I
are.
never got around to it.
I went to show you my ring and realised I took it off before going in for a shower. So, not wearing it.
Fair enough. David has his on, though.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I never take mine off. I'm not allowed.
Oh, okay. I see. Alright.
You're the one.
You had that brilliant opening question.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
my opening question is, how does it feel to have media surrounded? Because between the pair of you, you kind of do, don't you?
Oh god. Yeah, we do a lot of different things, but it's because we are bored and we procrastinate and we are not very fond of finishing the thing that we should be working on, so we're like, let's try something new.
I have no idea what you're talking
All
about.
of these words you're saying are gibberish.
That is how you got into doing concept albums. That's how I got into doing spoken word poetry. This all came about from us not doing the thing we were meant to be doing. So
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a step back for folks who are not as familiar with your work as we are. David, we first met you, I think, at Pod UK.
Yes, I
Was
think
that
so.
right? In the before
times.
time, in the long ago, when we
Yes.
had physical events and before we learned to fear them. And you were at that point, the tower had just come out, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Yes, it would have just come out because I specifically remember talking to you, Alasdair, about it. Because you came up and we were chatting, and then you just suddenly started talking about how much you liked it, and I was caught off guard. I was like, oh god, this is a compliment time. Oh no, I'm not ready. So,
I'm not even sitting down!
So quickly, in under 100 words, and with no pressure whatsoever, summarize your entire creative career to date. Yeah, no pressure, right?
So I started out playing the bass guitar and wanted to be a rock star, and I wanted to be Freddie Mercury, but then realized there's a reason why Freddie Mercury is the famous one and not the bass player from Queen. Not that John Deacon isn't amazing. I think John Deacon is amazing, but not quite as famous. And then I went to university, and then I was a full-time busker when I was at university. That's how I paid for all the beer. And and then while I was at university, I met a filmmaker who one night we both got very drunk at a party and then decided to work together. So I started making music for films.
Great.
And then moved from making music to films into sound design and sound recording. And then I decided to try out audio drama just to kind of see what I could do as a sound designer. And then it kind of like the way I describe it is that I just sort of happened to get on the boat as it was leaving, because it was 2016, which is around about the time when with Novacoats and The Orphans and a lot of stuff was just starting to really kind of take off. In the UK, at least, there was a sort of wave of audio fiction. And I kind of was accidentally swept up in that. And
bad thing. Yeah.
From there, I released another show called Middle Below. I put together a audio drama concept album called The Tower. The second part came out literally last week, and a bunch of other stuff as well, and including
the Dungeon
Economic Model.
Economic Model, which I freaking loved. Made me laugh so hard.
It is the only comedy series which is also a deep dive into the logistics of dungeon crawling, and also a salute to those fuck awful News on the March public information films, which this island still plays in a loop.
Say again, Sarah?
I just remember you pitching the idea to me, and I was like,
You're like,
so Cameron, who's the writer for the Dungeon Economic Model, his job is like an actual town planner.
Yeah.
So like he just brought all that experience from working in local government into this objectively really silly idea for a podcast and actually made it good.
So he was already used to apocalyptic architecture and design. Okay.
So
Byzantine bureaucracy, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So it channels a certain amount of rage. Good to know. Very good to know.
No, the Dungeon Economic Model was a lot of fun.
Cameron, he's a great, he's an incredible writer, and I think you'd had the idea, because this was kind of the first idea. You're like, I've got this idea, and I'm not too sure what to do with it. And then you had a chat with Cameron, and then Cameron just went, "Excuse me," and then just fucked off for a month and came back like, "I have returned."
Audio drama, you say? Right? Well, that
100%.
I mean, you were talking about kind of like the first UK wave of audio drama, and I think that's a really good way to describe it, because you've got Wooden Overcoats, Oblivity, Amelia Project, kind of that whole oeuvre in the UK that all kind of came up at once. And then I think Lockdown specifically, more contemporaneously became, well, I'm a frustrated filmmaker and I cannot film, so I will audio drama. And now we're starting to see some of those projects coming out as well. So, okay, Sarah, your turn. Because we've got where you dovetailed, where you met David. I know less about your career other than I follow all of your fitness stuff on Instagram because I find it really inspiring.
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm predominantly a writer and director of film. That's where I've always wanted to kind of be, as much as I kind of go on these little side quests every now and again. So I went to uni to study film and English, and I got drunk one time and was at an open mic night gig and seen this guy playing bass, and I fucking tore my way through the crowd and like, I call you a bass wizard. That is who you are. And then never saw him again for until the following year, until he just joined the drama society.
Tell me you have a t-shirt that says bass wizard.
I will make him one.
He needs a bass wizard. Halloween is coming up. I expect to see bass wizard photos.
Yes! The prophecy will be fulfilled.
Excellent.
But yeah, I started kind of at the time at uni, as much as I was in the drama society doing lots of theatre work, I remember the kind of film club being quite a sausage fest, just full of these arrogant white dudes who were just like talking about films and not making them. So I decided to kind of do more of my creative stuff outside of that environment, which meant calling on people that I knew from all kind of walks of life and someone I knew could make fantastic music. So we ended up like making some films together. And then I graduated and kind of went traveling and came back and was working as a waitress. And I won a competition, which won me like 10 grand worth of industry equipment to keep. And that's how I got my start. I'd still be working as a waitress without that start.
Brilliant.
So I've started doing a lot of like, self-shooting things and working with really kind of small budgets and things. And with this first film, I called you up, been like, haha, you thought because I graduated you were rid of me. You were wrong, sir. And yeah,
I want these voicemail messages, you guys. I seriously want to hear like.
It was actually unreal. I think you were living in either in Aberdeen or the Lake District.
You're like David Gandalf. You just show up at the party and you're like, guess what we're doing?
Yeah,
that is more or less exactly what happened, I think.
And that's what continues to happen. So yeah, I made a lot of short films. I had an art scholarship where I was like able to not work for a year and just work on artistic projects, and I found spoken word poetry, which was just another thing to pour my time, which was also your fault, by the way. That was
also my fault, yeah.
I went to this incredible gig by a group called the Loud Poets that are based in Scotland, and it was my first time seeing it, and I thought it was going to be very, very, like, ultra confessional and all kind of traumatic. What you expect when you kind of see, like, a lot of, especially American spoken
like
words.
The Moth and stuff, right? That kind of, like, deep dive, soul-bearing narrative.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me eviscerate myself in front of you and act like you. And I was just not into that. But this was packed full of joy and comedy, and it was great. It was fun. It was like stand up in theater. I had a baby, and I loved it. And I was like, I need to be part of this. I'm going to come to lots of nights, and then I'm going to maybe start writing my own stuff, and then I'm going to try and speak to people and find my way in, and then eventually I'm going to do this. And you're like, you could. Or you could sign up for the Slam next month and I'll do it with you. And we did. And that's how I got started.
Nice.
And I got to the finals.
So it's competitive.
I just want to say I didn't quite crash and burn as much as I was hoping I would.
So was it a competitive environment then? Where
it was. I mean, it's interesting. Not usually, the Slam environment is like 3 minutes, and it kind of goes from like
depends on if it's Glasgow or Edinburgh rules.
There's different kind of rules, but basically you end up with like a kind of final 3, and if you get to the final, then you have to perform 3 different poems sort of thing, and they're kind of judged on like the quality of your writing, the quality of your performance, and how the audience react to it. So it's as much as like how can you judge art like that? It's like there's a kind of electricity to it sort of thing. It's like if someone gives a great performance with something that like you really enjoy, makes you laugh, and yeah, it's a really great environment. I love it. A much kinder environment than stand-up. So yeah, and then kind of going forward, I actually kind of like took a step back from film because I just wasn't enamored with the indie scene. It was really toxic and it wasn't for me. But then I decided to make a short film called Scare for the 40-Hour Film Challenge, which was specifically about like someone who's had a pregnancy scare, and I made a comedy about all the things that run through your head when you're waiting for the stick to develop. And it did really, really well, and it kind of like relit my love for like making films, because I was like, I don't really need to be part of this scene if I've got something that I want to say. And so I've been and it's been great because it's been, only I can say what I do, so I like been smashing together my poetry influences and my film influences and my monologue influences to make things that are a bit different, and that's kind of where I'm at today. But yeah, we're not happy with this one.
You've done a much better job of, I think, going, well, I like this and I like this and I like this, and like consistently blending them together in such a way that you have like less of what I would call a scattered portfolio career, like us, where it's like, well, I'm just gonna try that, well, I guess I do that now, and I'm gonna try that, well, I guess I do that now. Those 3 things don't have anything to do with each other, but I'm going to do them all because I'm incapable of putting any of them down.
Hey, we have been conditioned to turn our hobbies into hustles.
Yeah,
yes,
we have.
Absolutely.
Into a hustle.
I know. I really need to find something that I can't monetize one of these days. And then I thought I'd found something.
Horrible thing to say, isn't it?
I know. But I mean, we have a dear friend who's a writer in the US who has started taking violin lessons, and she says, I love doing this because I suck at it. And I expect to suck at it. I have no expectation of developing any level of, like, economically viable skill in this. It's all about having a relaxation thing. And that sounds nice. I think that's going to be a dog. When I buy a dog, I'm not going to monetize my dog. I make costumes for my dog.
That is a lie. That is a massive lie. That dog is going to have an
Watch
Instagram
her dog
account
become
in
like
seconds.
a freaking Instagram mogul or something. That would be just our
We just
luck.
got a cat, and it was meant to be the same thing, but then you floated around the idea of changing her name from Poppy to Content. Because cats are content, like...
That is the greatest name for a cat ever, and it's just as fickle and unresponsive. I freaking love it.
Oh god.
The thing that our cat is called Poppy. That's her name.
For now.
She came with it.
She came with the name, but she seems to have like, so whenever she's doing something really cute, I'll take my phone out and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take a picture, and just suddenly go, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm not doing anything.
Go back to what you're doing. Yes, exactly.
Go back to what you're doing. No, you're using me for content again, aren't you? No, I'm not doing that. No, you have no proof I'm doing that. And then she just leaves. Like, I'm going now. Bye.
I love that.
She
That's
knows her
adorable.
worth. Poppy has a day rate.
Insert 5 dreamies to continue. Yes. Oh, so yeah. We see.
That will cost 9 dreamies.
Yeah. Poppy's got her life balance figured out. We need to take lessons from that cat.
See, all I can think of now is there's going to be a knock at your door at some point. You can open it. But who are you? I'm your cat's agent. I'm sorry, what?
Honestly, would not surprise me.
Yes, exactly. So, did you start... It sounds like you started collaborating on work together before you became what I'm going to loosely define as a romantic couple. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were the last people to know that we were getting together. The last people to know.
I don't know anything about what that sounds like either.
Note my eloquent silence.
Yeah.
Right?
We like known each other since uni, but it was only when you moved to Glasgow in like 2016, 2015?
2016.
And we just became really close, collaborating on lots of stuff, ended up just like speaking every day and just kind of hanging out. And because we both lived alone at the same time, and I think that was very good for the both of us. Oh, yeah. Like, we both lived on our own, so we kind of had that other person, like, if we needed connection at all, we were each other's, like, connection. And we were kind of staying in different parts of the city, so when we were feeling stuck for creativity, then we'd meet up in coffee shops in the centre of town, just so we could kind of, like, be each other's backup. That's when, like, started kind of going to poetry gigs and going to other gigs together and things. Mm-hmm. And, like, things just changed between us very slowly. So we knew that we were our leases were up at a certain time, so we were planning on moving in together, because we're like, if we move in together and get a 3-bedroom,
still not a couple.
If we move in together and get a 3-bedroom, then it means we can share an office space, which is going to be very beneficial to us. So we were moving out in the February, and then things changed. I'm not kidding. Within like the space of 2 weeks, the two of us just like kind of almost woke up at the same time being like, oh shit, in December. So we got
Wait a minute! That's not a creative collaboration emotion!
It was honestly so funny, and I think it happened at a Loud Poets gig.
It was a poetry night where we had.
You realize you are like a Tumblr meme, right? You were literally roommates!
We're like, no! Yes!
Okay, chat, I need all the fan art of the two of them like, wait a minute! This is adorable!
We were sitting on a couch in Dram after the gig.
Dram is a pub in Glasgow, by the way.
And honestly, I think, like, I was, like, curled up like this. You had an arm around me, and I was just kind of like that, and we were just chatting. And then, like, the guys who were hosting the night came out being like, hi, you two, how's it going? We're like, oh, fine. Not a couple.
Just not realizing.
Just, like, and then they kind of gave us a look and went away, and the two of us are like, what the? And then I was like, it's time to... So,
oh no, this gets better. This gets better.
Like, so my brain goes, okay, so I go, maybe it's time to go. Yeah, let's go, let's drink up. I neck my whiskey, get up, walk outside, and by the time you've grabbed your coat and gone, I've flagged a taxi. And then I'm like, you get this one, I'll get the next one. I fucking haul him into the taxi and bang the door shut. Boof, boof, and
No!
And just for to know where I was at, I didn't have the realization that Sarah had until I was like halfway home in the taxi. So I was just like, wow, that was weird.
That was strange. Wait a minute.
And then I walked home, leaving half-cut voice notes for everyone, being like, I think things between me and David are changing.
No, this is when the montage happens with the slow saxophone music and the street lights come in, right? And oh my gosh.
So I messaged my sister, like after we kissed for the first time, I messaged my sister.
Do you want to tell them what film we were watching when we had our first kiss?
Was it Robin Hood?
No, it wasn't. It was worse. It was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Yes! Yes! You are a people!
That's hilarious. Oh my.
It was great. So yeah, we had our first kiss and then being like, okay, this is clearly something. I gotta go. We'll come back and we'll actually like have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
So I messaged my sister. And she messaged me back just being like, do you want to come over? And I was like, yes, I'm on my way over. And she goes, can you bring me McDonald's? So I go over.
That's a sister. That's a sister.
Yeah, and I go in and then I realise that she's come in from a night out and I'm just like, did you get my message? And she goes, I saw your message but I never read it. What's up? And I'm like, so then I was like, so if this happened? She's like, oh my God. Yeah. My sister was the only one apparently who didn't realise that things were changing between us, but when I told everyone else, everyone's like, yeah, okay, obviously. My mum said, finally.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks for that.
I'm just feeling this fierce moment of dude solidarity with David, sitting in the back of that taxi, beautiful minding the equations together, going.
That's exactly what I think. I think when you described it, you went, huh, that was the moment.
I was very drunk. I feel like I should clarify.
You were not
this.
very drunk.
I did not have that excuse.
Make you very drunk. Always. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, we're moving in together in like 2 months.
And now it's now we'll have 2 extra bedrooms instead of 1.
Well, let me tell you. So we had a conversation in the first couple of weeks we were together, and I was like, right, we need to look for flats now. And we were sort of like, right, do we get a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom? Because either way, we're going to have an office.
Yeah.
And we sat down and had this conversation. Well, this is still really new. We don't want to like push things too quickly. We should have our own space. So let's get a 3-bedroom.
Smart.
So you had quite a busy job at that point, so I had to do the flat viewings. So
I was commuting to another city, so I was away. And I was away like the entirety of business hours, so before 9, after 6 sort of thing. So like I was never about.
Yeah. And I did have a job. I was working in the evening. I was working in a bar, so I went and found this flat, and I kind of went, right, okay, amazing. Had them taken off the market, put the deposit down, and then I come home, and then we have another conversation. And this conversation is no. We're doing this. This is us. Like if we're doing this, we're going. We're done. We're done. Both feet first. This is long term. So we should probably get a 2-bed. I'm like,
of course.
So
to be fair though, like just at the time, like we kind of got our place for a little bit of a steal, like in terms of like what is unlike London, like there isn't that much of a difference at all between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom up here. So it wasn't like it wasn't like we were like, right, we've made a massive mistake. We're like, okay, more place to put our crap. Yay!
Always a useful thing. So how did like the creative side of things change? Did it at all once kind of that threshold was crossed, or was just so now instead of taking a break to just have a cup of tea, I could take a break to have a cup of tea and a kiss and then go back to work? And
do you wanna go?
I don't think it changed so much because we kind of got together and then moved in together, so the routine was already changing. So it was kind of like we were always going to be establishing new work practices. So like we just kind of did it with like, as a couple, so it was fine.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest change came from moving in together rather than becoming a couple.
Yeah.
Like we're both quite bad at kind of heads down, do the work, don't really do anything until the work is finished.
I think I think honestly moving in together was the best thing for us, because when we lived alone we were very bad at just like, you know, staying up like really late nights and doing kind of all-nighters and things, and just because you didn't really have anyone else. But not so much because of like disturbing the other, but more that we would look after each other, like, you know, remind each other, remember, take a break, and you've worked enough today, like put that down and just chill out for a little bit, sort of thing. So it's just it was more,
Yeah.
we formed healthy habits by looking out for each other and making sure that it wasn't like, you know, burning out, which I think was just really good for our creative process as well.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
I think a thing that I found challenging was that, like, I found it, well, at least initially, it was difficult because I felt like if you were working, I also had to be working. And this was especially true during lockdown, because you were suddenly working from home.
Yeah, the last couple of years have really changed a lot of that, haven't they? I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and finish your thought.
All right, sorry, but so when lockdown started, you had like a morning meeting at like 9 o'clock every day, and then
only reason I got out of bed though, so I was kind of happy for it.
And then you were just solidly. Whereas I was put on furlough from my part-time job, and I was editing the Dungeon Economic Model. So I'd wake up, go, right, I'm going to edit this episode today. So I had structure for like maybe 2 months. But what would happen was I would get up, I'd sit down at my computer a little bit after you, and then I'd start editing, and then it would get to maybe like 11 o'clock, and then I'd go, I'm done. that's me done. Technically, that's me done the things I was going to do today. And then I'd sort of go in the living room and sort of like maybe start playing video games or start watching something, and I just feel really guilty because it's like you're still at work.
And you made that series of shorts, didn't you? Right when we went on lockdown, about working together in the same office.
Oh yeah,
I freaking
Those are
loved
adorable.
those.
They're amazing.
Yeah, we called it the annoying colleague, and it was just like, it was, again, I think it was just a laugh, and also like it was mainly kind of myself doing social like sketches for BBC The Social, and I was just like, do you want to be in? You're like, yeah, let's and yeah, you stole the show with that one. It was so funny, which is never really like that bad, but it is really funny because see, there was a one time when I was in a meeting and you were editing the Dungeon Economic Model, and you know, like, and there's like little incidental voices that's all done by him, like, you know, noises of sheep and strange villagers, like so at one point I'm in a meeting saying things like, okay, so the open day campaign is set to go and the deliverables for Facebook and blah 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 blah, and I just hear forests, and I'm like, and my colleagues are like, sorry Sarah, what was that? And I'm like
nothing, slam. Right?
I think you getting guilty was definitely a complex thing.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Nothing on you at all. Absolutely me.
No.
Complex.
It was absolutely me that gave you the complex, because this happens quite a lot. Is that, like, even from before, we were like, you know what, we both got a lot of work to do individually. Let's sit down and have an all-nighter, and just like, we'll just keep each other going, and we'll just be absolutely fine. We'll go, right, cool. So we lock in at like 8-9 o'clock, and then by 1:45 you're like, well, I'm finished, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm like, you bastard, I've still got like 4 hours left to do. And that happens a lot.
Yeah, that was definitely a 48-hour film challenge thing, isn't it though? Like,
yes, because you'd get started on the music on the Saturday night, and I'd get started on the edit the Saturday night, and the edit would take me to 6 in the morning, and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go right in with a score, and it's going to take me ages to come up with everything, and then arrange it, and then do that, and then you're like, oh, I'm done. I'm like,
good, you can do the dishes and bring me a snack, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it got to the point, like, the last couple of months where we've been so busy that we've literally had to set up like a rota for who gets to have meetings what nights. Also, our Wi-Fi is not the greatest, so it can't handle 2 different like Zoom calls at the same time. So I was like, you get meetings on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I get meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I swear to God we're going to take Friday nights off, and of course we never do.
We take a couple of hours.
A couple of hours is a night off for us. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Sometimes 3.
yeah, like I'd be really. I think that was one thing that I'd love, is that if we could be like, you know, this is a night that we're going to end up taking together. But because I'm freelance and you work like shift work, it's just like, it's that kind of thing, being like, oh well, maybe not just next week, but this week, but we'll definitely do one next week. Oh, bloody workaholics.
I know, and I think it's worse somehow when the person you live with and you share your life with is also somebody you create things with, because it kind of intensifies whatever the emotion is. If it's something negative that you're both trying to work through, it can be helpful to have, that other person there to check in with you, to make you take breaks, that kind of thing. But then if you're both in what Johnny Sims called that window of fascination, then it's like squared. And the way you describe this, a good example of this is last year we put together a convention in like 3 weeks with a couple of friends, and Alasdair describes it as, I don't remember ever saying yes to this. I remember literally coming to my senses in the middle of writing a panel description going, what have I done? I'm not
exaggerating. I lost 2 days. I lost a Monday and a Tuesday, and suddenly it was Wednesday evening. I was like, so in this panel we're gonna. I was, the fuck are we?
Yeah, because you can just get into that like log jam shoot of, oh, where we're gonna go do this thing, and then it's been 36 hours and you haven't moved and you're dehydrated and hunched over and you're like, okay, I can take a break now, because you get into that group and it becomes like this feedback loop of, well, I'm doing the thing and you're doing the thing and we're doing the thing and yay, and then you're like, why do I hurt?
We actually have this really weird thing where one of us will get deeply pissed off about something for about 15 minutes. And then it will lift because the other one has taken it on.
Yeah, like we'll take turns being excited or pissed off about something. It's like, it's my turn to be pissed off about it. And then he's like, oh no, but these are the reasons why. And he's like, and then he gets pissed off about it. And I'm like, oh, but remember when you said this? And that was logical. And it's like, you take the angry ball and pass it back and forth. It's really weird.
I totally get that. I think that we feed off each other's. Yeah.
You did Nano in 2 weeks, Olya? That sounds ridiculous.
I think like we are kind of getting better. Was it you that I think it was you that told me about the concept of having like a rubber duck that computer code, like some people who do coding like have a rubber duck on their desk, so they talk to it, they talk out their code sort of thing. So it's a case of, if I'm talking to you about something, it's like, do you want a sounding board or a rubber duck? Do you want me to pitch in with this and feel the energy, or do you just want me to listen so you can talk out loud? And sometimes that's good, because I'm just like, if I'm excited about something, then if you're being sounding board, you're like, you're busy, stop. But I'm like, just be a rubber duck while I talk at you for a bit, and then I'll come to the realization that I'm busy.
Oh yeah, because so many creative processes, a lot of the time when you get stuck, a good technique, no matter what the medium is switch medium. So, we are in short fiction publishing, and one of the number one tips we give to all of the writers who want to submit their work to us is read it out loud yourself, because that's how it's going to be presented.
Yeah.
And it's a different way of engaging with the text. You're using a different sense. So I really like that example of be a duck. I just need to talk at you. I need to articulate what has been in my brain.
I do feel I should point out as well.
I feel like I need a stuffed animal that you can talk to.
This will be used on me.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow.
Like tomorrow.
Possibly
like
later
maybe
tonight.
bedtime.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the dynamic that happens quite often is, well, I don't shut up. That's pretty much the dynamic.
You have a lot of feelings about a lot of things.
Yes.
And sometimes you want to have those feelings about those things that are random pieces of culture I've never heard about at 6 o'clock in the morning before I've had my coffee. And I love you dearly and I respect your right to need to do that. But I also don't want to Phil Hartman you, so we need to find a technique.
I will absolutely let you both know when the first rubber duck hits, and if it does not hit inside the next 24 hours, I will be amazed.
Yes, exactly.
You have helped tremendously, and also I'm kind of horrified.
But it can be useful because, having a close relationship with someone gives you that opportunity. And the other thing I'm really curious about is if you've found your work together has impacted each other's styles. So Alasdair's written the Full Lid for about 5 years now.
Oh,
but I know, right? The 5-year anniversary is in November. I have to remember that. But I've only edited it for the last 2. And I've found that over the process of the last 2 years, my editing and imitation of his voice has gotten much, much better.
Okay. I'm going to give you an example right now. Did either of you see The West Wing?
We
well,
love
Great.
the West
Great.
Coast.
Excellent.
I
excellent.
swear to God, if you say celestial navigation, I'm gonna smack you upside the back of the head.
You know the early episode when Leo finds out that his secretary has practiced signing the president's name, for fun. And she's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. Treason. Treason is what's wrong with this. She has written sentences which are more me than me.
But that's my point. My point is when you work closely with somebody, I don't think you can help but there being a blending of style. And, we talk about artistic collaborations all the time. Like, it is Rodgers and Hammersteins. They are a duo. We talk about the Wachowski sisters. They are a combo. It is a creative gestalt team, whatever you want to describe it, where it would be almost impossible to like pick apart the line between how their work could be individual. I mean, obviously in every collaboration there are different strengths that everybody brings, and they may be slightly stronger in writing or stronger in editing. But I was curious if you could talk a little bit about if you found that in your own work. Like, you're like, well, for example, David would phrase this description this way, or, well, if Sarah was doing this, she'd do it like this, and so I'm going to lean on that, or something.
I know my writing has definitely been influenced by the way you write, because I think you write really well. And the way you write poetry is frankly infuriating. Like, there have been so many nights where we've just been like been in bed, you've just been doodling in your notebook, and then you're just I've just come up with something. Can I just read it? It's very rough. It's just very rough around there. Just can I read it to you? And I'll go, yeah, sure, absolutely. And she'll just fire off this amazing poem that goes into many different areas and is incredible. And there's me just got like, that's amazing. Like,
that's great. Fuck you, right? That's exactly what it is. That's really good, honey. You son of right?
In my own defense, though, all I ever wanted to be when I was a kid was an author. But I'm dyslexic, and I find prose so difficult. Just it doesn't make sense, and even. Like, the only way it makes sense to me is if I read it out loud, and even then I struggle so hard. So it's been, like, poetry's been this way where, like, it just takes the pressure off it, because I'm like, it doesn't fucking have to make sense. It doesn't have to link together. There doesn't have to be this thematic through line and this long sentence or
this pre-designed shape that you have to fall into and all of that. Yeah.
It just kind of falls out almost like, I kind of think of poetry as, like, the kind of, like the rough version of prose. Like, if you just have the key words and thoughts and stuff in your head that then you can turn into a beautiful sentence. I can't do that, so I just go bleh on the page, and I'm like, poems.
Bleh! Poetry! I just want to say, isn't it, afterwards. Like, I feel like that's the punctuation we need there, right?
I want to pick up on something there really quick, because that resonated with something I do. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I'm not the only person on this call that at times struggles with self-confidence with their work. Good.
You're creative people. Imposter syndrome comes with the package. It's like the ugly bubble wrap you can't get rid of on the inside of the box.
And one of the things which I've very slowly come to realize across the last year or so is the thing which I find instinctive, which I find like breathing, which is non-fiction. Other people have looked at it and gone, how the fuck did you do that? And it's
like the award ceremony on Sunday where you just stood up and were eloquent and shit. And we're all like, what?
Did I mention I don't shut up terribly often?
Well, they gave you a live microphone too. I mean, like, right, God help us all.
But I, more and more, in my kind of meta thoughts about pastoral care in creative fields, I think that's the thing where we all kick our own asses, which is we don't look at this stuff which we do, which is amazing, and which from other people's perspective is
magic.
Triple backflip rocket science magic. We just go, yeah, it's just the thing I do. I mean, I look at the work you two do, and I'm like, fuck! Right? Oh my god!
Right?
I look at what she does with words in legal word good sensing, and I'm in awe. And I look at the stuff I do, and I'm just like, it's a film, it's good, it's about this. Clap.
Right?
You know?
It's that myopic vision of our own creativity where when you're in a partnership, I think you're confronted with it more because you have somebody you live with who say, no, that's good. No, I couldn't do that. It kind of, it doesn't puncture the imposter syndrome bubble, but it kind of like pokes a slow leak in it so it can't get as big. At least I think in a healthy collaboration. I mean, I'm sure let's not even talk about unhealthy collaborations because they're far more prevalent.
You have called me on my bullshit sevel times.
Well, that's the other side of it, is finding the tactful way to say, I love you, and, doing it in a way that is constructive.
Allow me to provide an example.
Oh, God.
There have been times in wearing one of our other hats where we have had to put together official documents, basically after-action reports for
have
events.
to interrupt you for a second because JJ in the chat has said the problem with being a spoken word person is that you're making sand castles out of sound waves.
God, that's a beautiful turn of phrase.
Sand castles out of sound waves is a beautiful turn of phrase.
That's good.
That's really, really good.
That's
Thank you
amazing,
so much
JJ.
for that, JJ. I'm sorry to interrupt your story,
It's all
but
good.
I didn't want that to scroll.
But yeah, we've had to produce these after action reports for events, and Marguerite's done this amazing job of corralling all the various things and arranging them. And I have fucking walked out onto the stage of the empty page and gone, we begin in Genoa in 1672.
If we're lucky.
Storms are gathering.
No, a lot of times there is what I call the angry zero draft. Okay, just get it out. You process emotion through the written word. There's a blank page and electrons are free. Roll with it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and go mining for the tidbits in here that are actually allowed to make it. I mean, I think we've done it once where we're like, you motherfucker, shut up for another. We were very upset to discover, like the translation between the two of them.
That's incredible. By the way, I've got like motivational quotes and things like on my wall. I've got like The Ridiculous Optimism by Jim Henson. The blank page and electrons are free is going up there. That is stunning.
Yeah, no. For him, it's like there have been so many times where he's like, I'm really upset about a thing and I've talked about it and I even mentioned it to my therapist and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, right. Just make the fingers go on the keys. And then he'll like, and then 45 minutes later, I'll pop in with a cup of tea. I'm like, how are you? He's like, I feel better.
That tone of voice as well.
And it is that tone of voice. It's like one part relief and one part hand in the cookie jar. Like, how dare I make you use your coping mechanisms? I resent you, but I also love
frankly.
you. Yes, exactly.
Again.
I hate how you were right.
Yeah, how dare you assist me and be nurturing?
Thank you and also fuck you.
Yeah.
I think that the best example of it was every now and again I have incredibly bad professional days, and they're now coming like 6-7 years apart. But there was one in 2013 where I didn't get a job I was told I was going to get. At the same time as we hadn't bought the company at this point, but one of the folks involved with the company had gone, that thing that you needed the money for, yeah, we're not doing that. And I think I'd also just been to see a really bad movie.
That was probably the straw.
We lived in Nottingham at the time, at the top of a hill, so I just go up this hill on this tram, just like
a Pixar movie caricature of man at bad day,
Come home. This is one of the 3 times in her life Marguerite has been ill. She's like, hi, honey, I need to rant a little bit. 15 minutes later, I take a breath, and she's like, okay, 2 things. Firstly, you need to write this down. Secondly, are you aware you didn't repeat yourself once in that entire time?
Frickin' hell. And that's what I mean. You just don't see, it's so difficult to see your own talents from within your own head. And when you, have somebody else around you, they can go, okay, that's brilliant, but also fuck you. And then help you unpick it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
I can't even remember what the question was now. It's gone completely out of my head because we went on these brilliant tangents. Welcome to the show. This is what we do. We go on brilliant tangents.
Write that
down. That's a good one.
But I had what you were kind of saying before about our work kind of taking on each other's flavors and things. Funnily enough, I actually think since we kind of moved in together, our work is growing further apart, but it's because, like you say, like we know each other's coping mechanisms and we can kind of help each other through those good times and bad times and be the rubber duck and be the sounding boards, which means that I think we've very much been able to grow in our practice. Whereas I think when we moved in, I was very much like I'm a short filmmaker, whereas now I'm like, I'm comfortable wearing multiple hats and then also all at the same time and being like, you know what, my films are poetry films and narrative, when you're like, you know, I'm a musician and an audio drama writer and a voice actor and a sound producer, and I'm happy to kind of funnel all those things together. And I don't know anything about kind of like sound, and I'm tone deaf. I have like no musical talent at all.
He took it all in your sleep. That's what
I think it's because we support each other in other ways. Our work has been allowed to grow further apart, whereas before we were living separately, we were kind of looking for collaborations. I think we were kind of looking for ways to have more of a kind of like, you know, push and pull and a give and take sort of thing, and to work together in a way to like, you know, have that connectivity. But I think a testament to our creative partnership is the fact that our work is actually growing further apart, because there's still, I mean, for like every kind of film and stuff like that, I have the musical support, and for as much as I can't give any kind of like, you know, support in audio, I can always listen, and I usually do the artwork for the project.
You do the artwork.
Like I do the artwork for the project, so there's still ways to be involved sort of thing and kind of do it. And I think there's an element is, I think if the project ever needed it, then we'd be able to have way more support from each other than we'd need to, but we've kind of not needed to, which I think in a weird way is better. It's nice.
Yeah, I think we sort of encourage each other when we're thinking about doing new things.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm trying to think. Would it in 2019 we did 404 Inc. magazine? Was it? I can't remember what year. In the before times.
In the long
basically, there was this magazine that was publishing fiction and non-fiction. They did a call out, and you were going to submit some poems to it, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I've got this sort of weird non-fiction piece that I wrote about life lessons you learn when you play Sim City, and
sounds like an opening monologue.
But yeah, no, you very much went, no, you should submit that. That's writing. That's good. That's interesting. And both your poem and that piece got in, and I don't think I would have pushed myself to send that in, unless you'd kind of be like, no, go for it. I feel like it's like living with a hype person at all times. You've got somebody to be like, no, you go, you do the thing.
You take turns being Chuck D and Flava Fay for each other, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's how he described himself.
I am Flava Flav to her Chuck D. Exactly. I'm the one who you want to talk to in professional situations, because if you need to talk to her in a professional situation, you've probably done an illegal.
You've probably done fucked up.
You've probably done an illegal.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I love that. I love the Flava Flav. I love the kind of big hype person. There have been many times, like on a Sunday night, I'm like, I need to boss the week. I've got so much to do. I need to boss the week. And then the Monday morning comes, and I'm like, no. And then you're like, boss the week.
It's like first thing in the morning.
Boss the week. And then I get up and I boss the week, and I hate him.
See? I love you. Fuck you. It's a cathartic balance. You get a little bit of, release and a little bit of motivation, and hopefully...
Oh yeah, you're really good at talking me down off my angry ledge, and I'm like, let me be unreasonable.
Electrons are free. Blank page. Go be unreasonable, right? That or just stupid, violent video games is the other way. It's like, I'm gonna play Mortal Kombat until I feel better. Electrons. Still free.
Yeah.
Still free.
Oh yeah,
Still
every
free.
time.
Exactly. That's really interesting that you talk about how you're kind of like, your creative streams have been supported in being independent, because like the creativity that I engaged with before I met Alasdair, before we moved to the UK and lived together, was entirely musical. I did symphony orchestra. And I haven't played an instrument now in probably over 10 years, because, it's kind of hard to play classical percussion by yourself. You're just sitting there like, well, this is where there would be strings. I could sing it for you if you want,
He's the person to talk to.
Right? It's just a different kind of experience. I'm like, this is a great Tchaikovsky timpani part, but there's no motherfucker here to hear it. So. Right? Exactly.
Tchaikovsky, is there a canon in this? No, there are 24. Tchaikovsky, no.
Tchaikovsky, yes! Tchaikovsky, always yes. Yes, exactly. Anyway, but we met. Then I started by doing narrations, and then I started editing, and then we moved in together, and then we bought the company, and I know that doesn't sound creative, but I find running a creative company very creative because I'm a lawyer, right? So most of it's lots of prose. We do lots of writing, but it's a very different kind of writing with a very different purpose. Yeah. And so managing a creative company is a form of creative output for me. And other people are like, that's like accounting and meetings. I'm like, I know, it's great!
Whereas I am pathetically, fawningly grateful because to quote from 30 Rock, Marguerite is very kind of business, and I'm very like, yeah. You know, I do thoughts and feelings. The metaphor we always use. I was very lucky growing up in the parish priest on the tiny ass crap ass scrap of land I grew up on. Was basically banished there for being slightly too metal and principled to be a Catholic priest on the mainland. He was a former chaplain on a nuclear submarine. And he would regularly deploy with special forces on training exercises in the full webbing and full gear. And of course, because he was a priest, like, I don't really do death. I'll just carry Mars bars in my ammo pouches. And as a result, these commandos fucking loved it because Jerry's running up and down the beach after the exercise going, good war, have some chocolate. And
good war, have some chocolate. Like, that's peak priest, right?
And that's basically what I feel like I do with EA an awful lot. I do some of the big idea stuff, but a lot of the rest of the time, I'm the guy that does the pastoral care.
He's very good at pastoral care. And more so than I am.
And it feels like a weird, meaningless, soft skill, and it isn't. Just like Marguerite's meeting voodoo.
No. They send psychopathic executives to courses to try to learn that stuff. You could... No monetizing, I promise.
A friend and colleague of ours described Marguerite some time ago as having a black belt in committee.
I do.
And that is exactly what she does.
Yeah, exactly. But I always think that I have really kind of come into my fore creatively, at least in the work that we do with voice acting, with producing, directing, Twitch, all of that. All of that's been since we have been together as a couple. So the order of operations was different. You each had well-established kind of creative trajectories, if not careers. You kind of knew what you were doing and where you wanted to go with it. And then you're like, oh, good heavens, now there was kissing, which I find adorable. Whereas...
Has to be the title of the book, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a great memoir title. Good heavens, now there is kissing. I like that. It should be a romance novelist memoir, though. Plant a flag on that one. Whereas you have always done writing, but kind of the creative aspect of my life has been much more like course corrected since we've come together. But also much more foreground. Like it used to be the symphony's going to do 4 performances and 1 set of music once a year, as opposed to, well, how many jobs do you have now, Marguerite? How many have you got? You know?
But one of the things I find interesting, the commonality in our experiences, is where you two, from what you said, provide the foundation for which you go off and do amazing things and periodically at the end of a season come together to help boost ratings in exciting crossover episodes. What we found ourselves doing, because of the nature of how we got together, and that we were both in extremely unpleasant relationships prior to this, and both had that. Do you want to just
not?
Like, yes, I want very badly to not. Could we not together? Yes, we could.
Fair.
And that almost led to a period of convalescence, where after several years of everything being awful and being made to feel like dirt, suddenly I was like, I literally have a voice, and that voice is literally helping people. And in particular, across the last 2 or 3 years, the thing which I felt very viscerally is how, from my perspective, that's become me growing into my own skin. And not just getting used to the fact that I am not a small gentleman, but actually growing into the space I take up and the path I cut through the world.
Creatively.
And I think with you, it's the idea of foregrounding the idea that your creative practice is what other people would view as administrative, but you see art
but
and
I find
grace within
creativity
that.
in it. Yeah, I think of it as like you are on point with creative work. You like the macro. You like big concepts and thoughts and feelings and emotions and bridges and buttresses and all that stuff. I like the filigree. I like that is the boundary. What can I do within the boundary? Yeah, so I'm way into like Art Deco or Mosaic, whereas you're all Andy Warhol all over the place.
Perfect example. Have you seen So I Married an Axe Murderer?
I have not.
A long time ago.
Right. There is this whole section in there.
I'm watching you.
I'm not doing the accent because they'll hurt me and I will deserve it. but there's this long rant in there where Mike Myers' character's dad yells about how the entire world is run by the Pentaveret, which consists of the Rothschilds,
You can find
the
this
Bloombergs, the Queen,
on TikTok.
and brilliantly, the Colonel before he went tits up. And the entire movie is worth it for the sequence just simply because Anthony LaPaglia, who is playing the other character in the scene, fucking loses it about 15 seconds in. And Mike Myers is just merciless. He just keeps going. And they keep the take in there. And LaPaglia is just this quaking ball of Australian laughter inside about 2 minutes. But there's this whole long rant about the Pentaveret that runs the world. Myers has sold a Netflix TV show about the Pentaveret.
Which is why those TikToks exist.
I fucking ran into the office when I saw this news story. I was like, yeah. And she just looked at me and went, 500 words. I was like, cool. And it's in the newsletter.
No, there. Speaking of post-it notes on the wall, so there's one. He got really bad about writing really long Twitter threads, and I finally went, honey, if it's more than about 10 tweets, that's a blog post. That's not a Twitter thread.
And I didn't believe it.
Off.
And then I just copied and pasted them in. I was like, fuck.
Because he wrote this huge long thing, and I'm like, why isn't that a blog post? So now he has the post that, like, he literally has a word limit on Twitter of, like, if you're going to do a Twitter rant of more than this many words, it has to be an article, not a Twitter thread.
That's really
That's
good
a really
advice.
good way of doing it. Yeah, that's a fantastic system.
Because otherwise then you can't find it.
I have a post-it note. It just says, just do the best you can.
I like it.
That is a great note.
I leave myself nice messages.
I have star-shaped post-it notes so that when he needs like a little golden star, or like if somebody says something really nice about him, I will put it as a quote on the post-it note, and he has his little gold stars on the wall. Because
I love
you
how
like
this has now become a stream about office stationery. I think that's amazing. I'm fully here for it. But
my first job was in an office supply place in high school, and I've never recovered. Just never. My second job was in a fabric store, and my storage never recovered.
You see, I would mock you for that, but then I remember my first job was in a comic shop, and I don't want to look at certain walls in this house.
Yeah, let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too. We should let them ask us questions too.
We should.
Do you have any questions for us? Because we'll just keep on in this vein forever. This is a lovely conversation.
It really is.
I guess sort of like, so how much, so I mean in our case I feel like we kind of grew up creatively together, and I feel as a result our kind of foundation is the same. Like I feel like we kind of got our values kind of grew at the same time, and they're quite similar. So
just a small interject. What you kind of said resonated a lot about you guys being in bad relationships beforehand, because I feel that we were living alone both in Glasgow, and it was both after we both kind of like, not even relationships, just situationships, just got rid of some toxic people in our lives.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think of our self-worth came from at the same time looking at each other and then being that voice of like building up the other person. So it's an element of like, I know what I deserve because I know what this person deserves.
That's exactly
And if I say that they deserve that much and they deserve the world, then so do I. So it was like I think that's where I kind of like.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
that self-esteem element of that for me definitely came second, but that's because I was raised Catholic. I think that's kind of us, recovering
Feel bad
Catholic.
about it.
Exactly. But no, the point about having met someone who's in a similar position in their life and being there with the goal first of being a friend and a sounding board and, to help externalize was this bullshit? Oh yeah, that was bullshit. Kind of, conversation can really help a lot. It's interesting that you mentioned kind of like common values and that we grew up 6,000 miles apart. I mean, so we didn't have any of those kind of very... I think if we had a common cultural touchstone, it was I'm not going to call it obsession, but I will call it deep and abiding love for American cinema.
Oh no, it's an obsession. Totally legit. Totally legit. That's a very proportionate piece of language. That being said...
Perfectly cromulent.
About, the whole different values thing. The thing which I'm acutely aware of is I am about 15,000% less British than I was a decade ago.
Thank God for that.
In every conceivable way. My accent is a little bit transatlantic now. I fucking love my accent. I love that I have spoken word chaff. That if you don't know me, people go, Australia? Ireland? What? But
whereas every time I go home, my family's like, "Oh, we can really hear your British accent." I'm like, "No, oh my God, dude,
sure.
Totally not for sure, no."
That's really interesting because so I was born in England, so it's interesting you bring up accents. But I remember we had we had Beth Crane and Headley Knight staying with us from at one point I mentioned we were chatting away, and then I kind of said, "Oh, I don't have a Scottish accent," to which they went, "I'm sorry, what?" And I kind of went, "Well, I don't," and then they went, "No, you definitely have a Scottish accent."
And I'm like, "No, it doesn't."
Yeah. I said, "Sarah, do you have a Scottish accent?" And she started laughing,
bless.
To kind of go a little bit deeper than accents, though. So I think before I moved to Glasgow, and I just kind of equate, I just...
Mick says, no, you don't have an accent either.
Because I can't imagine have one without the other.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine us being friends and having a relationship together without Glasgow being there. And then I can't imagine living in Glasgow without also you living in it as well.
I am Glasgow.
It's in my brain, essentially.
I am Glasgow! Yeah,
right. Before I lived in Glasgow and before we were in a relationship together, I didn't really feel comfortable calling myself Scottish, despite the fact that I moved here when I was 3 and I don't really have any kind of connection to England, other than a slight Radio 4 twang, I guess. But I think being friends with you and being in a relationship, I definitely feel more Scottish and a lot less English, which I'm very okay with. But I feel like from living in Glasgow and from being in a relationship with you, I feel like I've become more Scottish, or at least felt more comfortable calling myself Scottish.
I was going to say, you come more... It sounds more like you've been comfortable with claiming that portion of your identity, whereas before it might not have been something that you would bring to the fore. You've done that as well. There was a very definite shift over the time we've spent together where you've identified more as Manx up front as opposed to, oh, I'm from the UK, because the problem with when you say I'm from the UK is that everybody inside the UK knows what that means, but it's almost its own bizarre little mini diaspora. But if you say that in the US, they think, oh, you're English.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the loaded differences between those two identities.
I am the only person in my age group, the only guy in my age group who does not have a Manx flag tattooed somewhere on my body. One of them has a Manx flag on a dragon punching in and out of the flesh of his arm. I think there's a buttock tattoo elsewhere in that group as well. Sarah, that exact face, I have seen so many partners make that exact face when they go, where's your tattoo? It's on my butt. They're like,
But that's because you were the chosen one who must return at some
One
point.
day I will go back to the islands
to
and
be
be burnt
burned
in
in
a
the
wicker
Wicker
man,
Man,
so
right?
the harvest will be profitable.
So that the deep ones can return, right?
Yes.
We have to hold that day off. But it's hilarious. We went there a couple of years ago and we took the ferry and he's literally walking off the gangplank down the ferry and talking to me and the accent is coming back as we're getting closer and closer to the end of
And
the
she's
dark.
fucking humming the Shire theme
It's
from Lord of the Rings
hilarious.
the
That
whole
was
time.
absolutely hilarious.
That's great.
I'm just going to pause for a second and let the chat know that we're at a good time to start asking questions. Mods, if you want to maybe highlight them for us. My hair is a frizzy wreck today.
Mine too.
I
It's
know.
the humidity. I'm not doing anything
so
with
much
it.
product. That would be really helpful. And Mick says you don't have a Scottish accent as far as he's concerned.
Aw.
That's fair. I still don't tell people I have a Scottish accent. I'm very aware.
You do to my ear, but I can see how you would describe it as slight. But it's the same way you have what I would call a slight northern accent, and that's because of the kind of the BBC Radio 4 received pronunciation influence that I think both of you have had in your lives.
Yeah.
I've actually
I was, yeah.
Everybody in the chat's like, we heard something about a trailer. Yes, we will get to the trailer. But we're going to ask questions.
We can go.
I don't want you to feel bad. I promise there will be a teaser trailer. I made like a neat graphic for it and everything. It'll be fine.
I've actually, this is a very recent thing. I've actually very recently become aware of the fact that I have a little bit more vocal range as an actor than I'm posh and calm and I'm posh and angry and I'm just halfway decent Mark Sheppard. You know, and quite a lot of it is the northern thing, because the Yorkshire accent's brilliant. Because if you turn it up enough, it becomes very dour. And if you turn it all the way up, it becomes incredibly perky, and everything becomes just slightly amusing. And it's that kind
Adorable.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We have an emoji for the stream, which is accents. Because,
There are so many Americans in the game we're streaming at the moment, and one of our mods from time to time, when I get a bit overexcited, which happens quite a lot, will just pop up in the chat and go, Alasdair.
we love you, Wendy. Thank
I'm sorry.
you. See, there they all go. Now the chat's flooding with all of the accent warnings. Yes, exactly. Like, literally, it is content warning accents. Oh, and he loves to do a Werner Herzog as well.
Oh, the Werner Herzog accent. Oh my god.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Thinking,
Happy New Year, losers.
Yes!
You have to, like, record a Christmas greeting. This is a season of inappropriate gift giving or some shit like that. You would have a great time with it.
I'm Werner Herzog, and you are not. Good night.
Just... So, if any podcast out there needs a Werner Herzog impersonator, Alistair's far too keen.
All of my podcasts need a Werner Herzog in them.
Right? Exactly, from now on. Well, this will be like the Werner Herzog strata in podcasting audio drama.
I'm going to have to put that in my Twitter bio now. Twitter's #1 Werner Herzog impersonator. Do you mean that? No, I mean the only one. I mean, I'm the only one.
Right, it's like Hawkeye asking Kate in that trailer. Are you the one who's calling yourself the world's best archer? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm just waiting to see if the chat's got any questions for us, and if not, you can ask us more questions, or we can wrap it up here if you would prefer, and you can tell us all about
the amazing Act 2 of The Tower, which is available now.
Yes, which is really, really
and also
good.
your amazing films, Sarah, one of which I watched earlier today, which is still resonating around in my brain.
Which one did you watch?
Spark, which is fucking amazing.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh my god.
thank you.
The rhythm of it and the snap, and I am a huge mark for language as puzzle, and the more of that I listened to, I was like, my god, the structure in this is amazing, and you work so
you're
hard
a structure nerd.
Yeah, of course, and you work so hard to make it seem like it isn't structured, and it absolutely is, and the payoff at the end of that time. And also, I can only assume that you left stage and immediately went, I am now very tired and will sleep for several hours, possibly days, because holy fucking shit, seriously, that is an amazing performance.
We do have a question for you, Sarah, which is there a particular poem or video you would recommend for folks who have not engaged with your work before? Do you have like a place you would recommend they start?
Yeah, absolutely. So Spark, which is my first full-length theatre show, so it's an hour-long show where it features a lot of my poetry, and it tells a longer story about my upbringing as like a kind of woman in Scotland, but also it tells the story of Jenny Horn, who was the last woman in the British Isles to be executed for the crime of witchcraft, and it happened in Scotland. And by the way, Scotland burned 5 times more women than anywhere else in Europe for witchcraft. So that's just interesting to know. Anyway, so Spark, the full show is available. The full show is available online. But there's also, if you're interested in getting into spoken word, I was funded to create an education program. So there's a thing called, there's a website called the Spark Education Program, and it is a full free online course, and it's also a resource for teachers if they wanted to teach words in classrooms. So if you're interested in writing your own poetry, your own spoken word, like drawing on your own experiences, then that's all there for you. If you want to get if you just want a little bit of a taster, the first poem of the show is called The Introduction Poem, and the course teaches you how to write your own introduction poem. If you were to walk onto a stage and present yourself to the world in 3 minutes and tell them everything you need to know about yourself and who you are as a person, that's the introduction poem. And you can find that on YouTube as well. So
it's the Disney I Wish song in a poem form, right?
That's true. It's the I Wish. It was very much like I use it as a prelude before the show even starts. I just come on and be like, right, you might be thinking, who's this bird and why is she talking at me? I'm like, give me 3 minutes and I'll let you know.
Brilliant. No, I'm like, oh, good. Get my introduction succinct. Yes, please. That would good. So the other question we have is, what would your dream money no object project be, and who would you want to collaborate with? Unlimited budget, unlimited resources. I'll make Alasdair go first because he knows the answer to this one.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do. The Night Gallery. The Night Gallery is the show that Rod Serling did.
Well, that's the Midnight Library. Yes.
The Night Gallery is the show Rod Serling did after The Twilight Zone, which is essentially The Twilight Zone, but with a little bit longer and far more specifically genre spanning. And you could drop The Night Gallery over what we have at Escape Artists with no changes whatsoever.
Yeah. Basically take the genre anthology show into video.
And I would love that. And I mean, I would love that partially because I am an enormous ham, and I love that my job has enabled me for 15 years to impersonate Rod Serling and do that. This is a very interesting story. It's going to have some spooky things in it. Maybe a scary doll. Perhaps some eyeballs. I'll see you on the other side. And being able to do that.
I love the Twilight Zone. I mean, I've got so many, but I'm kind of working a little bit towards my first TV credit just now, and I'm already thinking about like something I'm going to head up. I love the the returning the returning series with a new story every time, very much like, and it's done a lot in horror, like American Horror Story and the Midnight Masses. I'd love to do something like that, and it'd be called Skin and Blister, and it'd be different stories but with the same cast, and it'd be stories told in genre about sisterhood. Like the only thing that kind of connects them is that it would be the story would feature the connections of sisterhood, because I just think that's such an incredibly rich subject to connect it. And I also love like, you know, seeing the same actors and performers dive into genre and extremely different characters. So I'd love to do something. I'd love that. That's my dream project.
Really cool. The closest I've ever seen is one year there's a Shakespeare festival in the US that I went to, and they did both Hamlet and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Both plays, same actors, same roles.
Oh, that sounds incredible!
Yeah, it was really, really good. And they did them like back to back, and I was like, that was really cool.
There's a really nerdy very brief sidebar which kind of speaks to this. The new version of Macbeth that A24 are putting out at the end of the year with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. apparently they talked beforehand about backstory. And Washington said, let's figure out how they met. And Frances McDormand did that thing that she does, where she went, hey, it's Romeo and Juliet. They just faked their deaths. We're those teenagers 40 years later. And apparently that's how they play it, that these two have been in each other's pockets their whole lives. And I am fucking giddy at the thought of seeing what that is going to look like.
That's
incredible.
Right?
I love that. All right, David, what's yours? Unlimited budget.
So I have two. One is really, really nerdy, and one is slightly less. So the really nerdy one, and Alasdair, we very briefly mentioned this before the call. I would like to do an audio adaptation of the Star Trek Stargazer books.
Fuck yes.
Because I know that. So I need to preface this.
Yes.
There are a few Star Trek audio dramas that have kind of been fan made.
Yep.
But the issue is, because they're fan made, a lot of the sound design has been ripped directly from ripped from the shows and ripped from clips and stuff. So the quality's not as good as it could be. So I'd like it to be like a proper adaptation funded by CBS. I'd probably have a little bit of creative license and find a way to sort of, crowbar Worf in there, because I want Worf in everything, frankly.
Fair.
And yeah, I'd love to do that. The sort of slightly less nerdy one is, I'd like to do kind of like a Tubular Bells kind of thing, where it's one long piece of music, but it's kind of, you have the first time, and then you have your Tubular Bells 1, then you have Tubular Bells 2, where it's the same thing, but it's been done with it's a new approach, it's new technology, it's new instruments and things, and just have this piece of music that is constantly evolving and changing.
Long form fugue, nice. Yeah. I'm sort of trying to do that with the Tower, but it's with the Tower, it's much more of a tension between audio drama as well as music, but this would just and it's still narratively driven ultimately. It's not a kind of disembodied pure creation sort of piece. Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of have two responses to that, and I'll get the super nerdy one out of the way really quickly, because otherwise we'll be here for hours talking about Star Trek, and we should do that at another time.
Yes, we should.
Yes. I love that very much, and I've actually written Star Trek audio drama. I don't think it was ever produced, but I did a script for a sequel show set, I think 300 years after the Next Gen timeline, with the Federation trying to put itself back together. It actually riffed on a lot of the stuff that Discovery ended up exploring really well. But I was incredibly happy with it, because I pitched the secret origin of Deep Space One, because I was always really interested in this idea that Starfleet just find these random fucking stations, and after Starfleet Corps of Engineers have rendered them safe, just go, that's ours now. It's alive and 40 kilometers long. Yeah. The habitat's in its lung. Yeah.
Yeah, we dealt with Tin Man. We're cool with this.
Deep Space One. It's called Deep Space One. But I'm out. Admiral out. And the whole thing was basically the command crew of Deep Space One having to go, I think it's alive.
It's very Farscape at that point.
Yes, very much so. And also with...
Look at David's face. He's like, "Woo!"
I love all of this. Why did this get made?
The other thing you really want to do is the Starfleet Corps of Engineers.
I fucking love the Starfleet Corps. The only people I love more than the Starfleet Corps of Engineers are Starfleet Medical. I love the kind of weird support structures, and especially with the SCE. The whole idea that the Enterprise will come in and go, this is strange and weird. We've been here 45 minutes, it's all resolved, let's fuck off. And then this crappy little FDL van rocks up with 20 physicists in it, and they're all like, it's broken gravity.
You see what you've done there? You've banged it all the way up.
There's a lovely throwaway gag in one of the Discovery novels about a group of engineers who actually do the community thing at shift change, where they walk in deliberate slow-mo across the hangar deck, and one of them's like, we do this every time. Yes, we do.
This is all we get. This is what we're doing.
But
I love it.
just to kind of step across to the Tower, because I finished listening to it about half an hour before we started talking. The thing that there are 1,000 things that fascinate me about the Tower. I mean, everything that you put out is incredible, but I think this is the best work you've done, and part 2 builds on part 1.
I have so many questions. I got some answers, but I have so very many more questions.
But I love the way that you are using sound design as a narrative tool, not just the way that you use, because so much of the tower is told through phone calls, the way you use the transition from this voice is produced so it's on the other end of the line to this voice is not produced so now we're over here. Yeah. And it is the most graceful location shift I've heard in audio drama.
I really like it. I really like it a lot.
But also the way that the music gradually builds. And
complexity.
The final part in particular, and also it is Sarah Golding that you got in as Mum in part 5.
Yeah.
Who just, oh my fucking god, there are now 2 one-scene characters I've encountered in podcast audio drama who just rock up, break your heart and leave, and Sarah's one of them, and Ellie Marquez in an episode of Valence is the other. But the way that you go from that to the way that the music dances on that incredibly complex and difficult to hit line in 5 and 6 of this is beautiful and otherworldly and possibly sinister, and if it's not sinister, it's very intimidating. And the way that the music reflects the patterns that are starting to emerge in the narrative, but does so in a manner which has its own individual identity, is fucking breathtaking. No one is...
I learn about the tower because I love it so much. I'm just an audience member. I actually walked in at a call when he says, I'm going to tell you the ending, and then I'm like, would anyone like some tea? And they're like, we're about to say the ending. I'm like, no, I don't want to know.
Exactly.
Don't tell me, I don't want to know.
Go away, I need to listen.
I'm obsessed with the tower. Like, I'm just like, tell me what happens. No, don't tell me what happens. When are you making more?
Right. Well, David, why don't you tell us when you are making more, and we should wrap this up with you promoting the tower and when you're going to make us some more.
Okay, so the tower is available on is available wherever you get your podcasts. I don't ask questions where you get your podcasts from. I don't care, whoever your dealer is. So we've done the outline for part 3. The outline for part 3 is done. The hope is that I can get part 3 written this winter, because I always write in winter because it's dark all the time and I get sad, and that's when I write best, apparently.
That's how Sweden works, so you're in good company.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the hope is to get it written over the end of the year, and then try and not have 2 years before the next bit comes out. So I know what happens in part 3. I just need to write the damn thing. But the soundtrack for part 2 will be out middle of November.
Brilliant.
If you are a Tin Pan Audio Patreon, because I'm gonna slot that in as well.
Do it.
You'll be getting you'll be getting the soundtrack at the end of October. So you'll be getting it about 2 weeks before everyone else.
Great.
And it'll be available on Bandcamp and Spotify afterwards. So,
and now is a very good time to point out that Bandcamp are running Bandcamp Fridays throughout the rest of the year. So if you buy that on Bandcamp Friday in November, 100% of the proceeds from it will go directly to David.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Woo! And what about you, Sarah? What's coming up next for you?
I am in a little bit of a writing thing just now. I am currently working on the feature film version of the short film Scare, which is available on YouTube. That's my main project, so if you wanted to check that out, then just search Scare by Sarah Grant and see me lose my shit for 3 minutes.
Nice.
That's where you can find my work.
And you've got a show coming up.
Yes, I have a new spoken word show that I'm debuting at the Scottish International Storytelling Festival. It's way more traditional storytelling than it is poetry, and it's called Oracles, and it's about living up to the legacy of the grandmother that knows all the stories and knows everyone's business. How can we be storytellers in a digital age? Like when our grannies had the steamy and the neighbours and who's turned for the stairs on the close, what do we do with the WhatsApp girls chat? So that's what the show is going to be about.
Oh, that sounds really, really good.
It's performing live 22nd, but there is going to be a digital pass if anyone's interested.
Nice.
Best way to keep up with that is to check out the Twitter of the Scottish International Storytelling Festival.
Great.
Brilliant. This has been delightful. Thank you
you
both
so
very
much,
much.
guys.
I'm only slightly disappointed that Poppy hasn't made an appearance. But,
Yeah,
maybe we
no,
just couldn't afford her day, right? That's
Pissed off me, chucked her out the chair.
Oh, okay. Well, we will have to get a demand. We'll have to negotiate with Poppy's agent for a return. Exactly.
I'll send you the paparazzi pictures I have.
Oh, I love it. That sounds fantastic. Okay, stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a very short little break and say goodnight to David and Sarah. And then when we come back, we have the St. Kilda trailer. So get up, take a stretch, get a snack or a drink. If you need to check in on pets, if you haven't taken a medication you need to take a day, take care of that. And we'll see you back here in just a couple minutes.
Okay.
Bye.
And we're back.
You ready? I'm seeing a couple of people reporting that they're having a little bit of lags. We're not showing any lag on the stream all of a sudden, so maybe a little refresh might be in order. Gosh, my voice is getting crackly.
It was the 4th week of Harvest Month when Debrachian shenanigans first came to the little town of Bitchfield.
Really?
Descending from the hills accompanied by his minstrel friend Gamelan, Debrachian looked out across the town and had one thought. He needed the loo. It's been a long week. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
Came from, really.
Neither do I.
All right. Set the stage for what we're about to see.
What we are about to hear is the first scene of the first episode of The Secret of St. Kilda, the 10-part audio drama written by the amazing Naomi, directed by the amazing Mick, from Haggis and Dragons. It is the first original audio drama they've ever done. It is a cast which includes people from countless shows you will have heard and loved. And is kickstarting now. I think there's 4 or 5 days left. It is funded. It is funded, and the cast, it's funded to a level where the cast have just received a 50% pay bump. Woohoo! If somehow there is someone out there with tens of thousands of dollars or indeed pounds to spare, the stretch goals finish with £50,000, which is a cast and crew trip to St. Kilda. And I want to drive. I'm just putting it out in the universe if you want to do it. All right. If Tony Stark's listening. Now, the thing that I do want to say is that there are some content warnings for this trailer. This is grim, straight out of the gate. Yeah, so everybody kind of be braced for that. We've gone into detail with the headlines of them there. And then if you need the link, there'll be some more specific content warnings for you. So now I have to push the button and go to the screen. Here's the screen. Here's a screen because you get to watch us watch this because you haven't listened to that. I have not listened to this yet. I've listened to it many times, but he has not listened to it yet. So you get to watch a live reaction. This will be very, very fun. We all ready? Do the thing. Alrighty, here we go, everybody. Set your recorders, and there will be clipping happening, I'm sure. But let's see if I've done this correctly. Here we go. It begins, as terrible things often do, with a knife. It's much smaller than you had made it out to be in your mind. It's lighter than expected. The soft leather grip seems warm, familiar. You get the strange sense that it could have come from your own kitchen drawer, and you might not remember. But this is no kitchen. The large, cavernous walls of this ancient chamber, lit by flickering flames, seem to shift, mocking the unassuming blade in your hand with their self-importance. The scent of blood has mixed with the scent of your own fear. Your hands feel slick and damp.
It's okay if you want to stop.
He's come this far. He's one of us now.
You're ready. Finish the sacrifice.
I'm not sure if I can do this.
It's always better if you just do it quick.
I'm always like, and more. I need more. Please give me more. Please. Oh, this is the first time I've ever listened to it with headphones on, and the sound floor is so very lovely. Yes, please, sir, I need some more. So yes, that is the. Sacrifices, knives, I hear a cult. Yes. It's like the little checklist of everything we like in a horror audio drama. Sacrifice, yes. Cult, yes. Knife, good. Yes. Accents, excellent.
Accents, done good, yes.
Yes, fine,
yes.
Swell.
Continue.
I love the cut off and then the effect. It's like, ooh, leave him hanging. That sense of drama, very, very, very well developed. I believe the plan for release is 2021.
Yes.
I mean, that may be December 31st. We don't know.
My understanding is the plan is you will get episode 1 this year.
Right. The Kickstarter closes in...
Oh, thank you, Naomi.
Naomi says, before the end of the year. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Kickstarter has, like we said, a couple days left. It's funded. It's doing brilliantly. Kickstarters can always do more brilliantly. There's swag, and I wants it, precious. What else? Anything else? We'll have the full links in the show notes, of course. Including... I understand, perhaps a YouTube link for people to listen to that again and such, which will be lovely. I like that you talked. I wasn't expecting it to be you, to be honest, because I think when I think of a trailer, I think of little clips from various bits throughout the story.
Detective David Mills is looking for a way in. Detective
Right.
William Somerset is looking for a way out. That kind of thing.
Really? You would full on in a world? Well, of course you would full on in a world.
Secretly always kind of wanted that job.
What do you mean secretly?
I've always really wanted that job.
You've always really... We don't have to put the headphones in.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, fine. But, yeah, St. Paul's is amazing.
Hey, I'm Cyclops.
See, you say Cyclops and I say Geordie the Forge. Okay. But what did you do the other day? You did this?
No, it's...
How else did you do it? What did you do with your headphones the other day?
Okay.
He did that. And I was like, what are you doing?
Daft Punk, or just daft. In a world where yeasty lads have their own outfits.
Very accurate.
Yes.
Very accurate.
Speaking of...
It is, in fact, the pumpkin season. So we
Pumpkin
thought
spice
it was
latte!
appropriate for the yeasty lad, Wendy, to wear his pumpkin hat. But what's this? What's this?
Is that a British Fantasy Award pin?
It is, in fact, a British Fantasy Award pin. Yes. Chungus is rocking it out. Almost as if...
Oh, wait, hang on.
That's a lot of glare. That's not working very well.
We can use this to successfully down low-flying superhumans.
Right? It's like, wow, look at my ring light. Behold, it's the Eye of Sauron in my award. Right? There we go. Okay, God, this is horrible. Yes. This is why people put their hands behind it on camera, isn't it? I can't do this. Help.
See, now that... Because if I hold it back here, you just get even more glare. Like, There we are. That's fine.
It's lovely.
It's lovely work.
It says British Fantasy Awards 2021.
Yes. It's kind of amazing. The full award ceremony is online. What you can't see in the award ceremony is during the 3-minute introduction to this, me doing this more and more towards Marguerite.
Several people who were sitting with us said the best part about watching Alasdair win this award was watching Alasdair's face when he realized he's the one.
And specifically, because I was masked up, watching this half of my face. And apparently I have pretty fucking expressive eyebrows.
He does have pretty expressive eyebrows. And he was all, He looked at me like, and I'm like, It was adorable.
It was...
Dahlia watched the realization dawn. Yes, very much. That is exactly what happened.
It was kind of amazing for a whole bunch of very complicated personal reasons. I've touched on this a few times. I had a very bad professional year in 2019, and that convention was a very large part of it. I've never felt especially at home in genre organizations, and I've had several experiences where genre organizations have stunningly failed their duty of care towards me, and that's really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And the way that I've dealt with it is it's one of the few places I'm still British. I swallow the anger, build on it, and wait to be dead. And this went a really, really long way towards cutting that off. completely.
I believe the awards ceremony is going to be on YouTube before
It is now.
It is now.
It is now. It's
They're
linked
gonna
to the full lid.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, yeah, it'll be in the full lid this Friday. And thank you very much, Dean, because he is loved.
Thank you, Dean. And it's really nice because the College of Wagner is given to people for contribution to the industry.
Don't know, Beastrogen. It's a terrible life ethos. Don't be British.
And that I feel seen, which is...
It's also the second time he's won that particular award.
It actually is.
Which, to our knowledge, he's the only person who's ever done that.
Now, the first time was as part of a team.
Yeah. So this was the Karl Edward Wagner Award given in 2016. So this award is given by the chairs of the convention, so the people who are running it. And it's awarded to their choice of someone who contributes to the industry and the community in whatever way they wanted to find it. And in 2016, they gave the award to the volunteers, the Red Cloaks, the entire group of them. We chaired the Red Cloaks for many years. So we all won these awesome, amazing hockey pucks, paperweight things. And so now he has 2. Which is amazing. Thank you very much, Solia. I appreciate you digging up the link.
Thank you, Solia. If you start around the hour mark, you'll see the introduction.
Yeah.
But watch all of it, because all the winners
it was
are
really good.
Yeah.
It was very good. And you can watch Alexander J. Newell win for the Magnus
Alexander.
For the Magnus Archives for Best Audio.
Yes,
it was
indeed.
Fantastic. And I don't know if Tim was in the... And don't give me that about swallowing anger. I saw your Gurm-themed masterclass in sarcastic disappointment. See?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I don't talk about him. There's a reason.
Yeah. Kim was there. I heard, oh yes, Tim and I had fun. Tim is delightful.
Fucking Meredith.
Oh my gosh. I never met Tim. Never met him in person. And it was just so... Alex, who had to check with people if he said anything inappropriate because he completely blanked out his entire speech. Oh, poor bless Alex. He should have been better prepared.
Tim at one point looked
To be fair, we all thought Neil Gaiman would win. And, to be fair, Neil Gaiman did congratulate the Magnus Archives on their
which was
win,
really
which
nice.
I thought was appropriate and appreciated.
Thank you, Mick. Yeah, Tim is a delight to share a really kind of awful hotel dinner with. At one point, he looked at me and went, I like sitting next to you, Alasdair. You find me funny. It's just you and my aunt.
And at one point, he was like, I risotto, it has rice in it and salt. I'm like, yes. Well, Dean, it's a convention rubber chicken award ceremony
Dean,
dinner.
There's a truth universally acknowledged about convention meals in genre fiction, and it is that they are the one meal that you will eat in any given year which is calorically invisible.
Because you eat it and then it takes forever in a very crowded table and yet you're still hungry.
So the starter was melon, just melon, had some berries on it.
It was a little nicer than that. But
it was melon and berries.
Yeah.
Then there was the risotto, which had, as Tim established, both rice
Convention caterers
and salt.
are where political convention caterers go on the weekends off.
Yes.
I guess.
Orange, if that helps with what kind of melon.
Orange.
And then the pudding was spiced peaches with a meringue. And it was all fine. It was actually much better than some of the other stuff I've had. But an hour and a half later, I was in full, I want chips. I want an actual food. Could I have a food? I need a food. In amongst all this, by the way, Tim also successfully pitched a legal drama to BBC One, starring himself and Marguerite, called, I believe, Marguerite and the Boy.
I think it's supposed to be Marguerite and the Kid, and I got the name wrong. But I like the God of War reference much better, especially since he's so much taller than I am.
What is
it's
law?
Funny. He was. Tim was a delight. It was wonderful to meet him. It was great to see Alex. He was terribly nervous, poor Alex, but he did really well.
He did great.
And you got a frickin' standing ovation.
I got a frickin' standing ovation and a frickin' plaque, and then I got a robot.
And then you got a robot. That's right.
Because that's the rule. Something goes well, I get a robot.
Yes.
Something goes badly, I get a smaller robot.
Yes. So Marguerite and the kid. Thank you very much, Zalia. So, yes, the Transformers collection is growing in this household. Okay, so we have a couple more things we want to talk about this evening. The first of which is...
And it's still technically this evening for the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to have to talk fast.
Okay, I believe in us.
I believe in us, too. Someone has a birthday coming up shortly. Just leaving it out there. To the point where I think someone, for his birthday, wants to stream cooking something.
I have a plan. Let me tell you it.
A congregation?
Yes. So here's the plan. I'm going
every Friday at 5. Wait, we did that one.
Thank you. Deep cut. I like that. Yeah. We have a pasta maker, which I have not used yet. And we have, I really like ravioli. So I'm going to make mushroom ravioli on stream and cook it. And the initial plan was tortellini and tortellini in broth. And then I looked at how difficult it is to fold tortellini. I went, that's not going to go well.
So we're going to try making pasta for a birthday stream.
Yes.
Not quite sure exactly when that's going to be, but it may be this weekend or it may be in the next couple of days. But there was going to be an improv stream of Alasdair cooking, and that will be fun.
And it will be delicious ravioli, or at the very least hilarious ravioli, and sauce, and then we'll eat it.
And maybe you'll have some birthday cake left.
Maybe there'll be some birthday cake also. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
The other thing we wanted to just say is we just wanted to flag up some stuff. And that is, this is a really good time for streamers to be having some difficult conversations about moderation and how we support our communities and how we stop trolls from invading our streams.
And this has actually developed today after a lot of people went, oh, but staying off Twitch for a day isn't going to do anything. Guess what? Suddenly new security measures have been rolled out to help everybody.
Yeah, Twitch has now released members have to verify via phone or email before they're allowed to chat feature, which we're going to be looking into. And more importantly, we had a nice long chat with our wonderful mods, Zalia and Ducky and Jax and Wendy, who's not here tonight, and we miss you, and she's not feeling well, and we hope you feel better. Love you, Wendy. About what's important to them in the community and how we can pay them, because people need to be paid for their labor. It's
of course.
Really that simple. That's how capitalism works. I don't know how that's going to work. We're trying to figure it out, because with a stream that's as small as ours, there becomes kind of a chicken and an egg situation where if you aren't careful, the money you are spending on making sure your moderators are paid can outstrip the money that the stream earns.
And it becomes the nightmare Patreon situation of you're producing stuff through Patreon, which is being paid for by the money you're getting through Patreon. And, they shoot horses, don't they? Yeah,
so we're trying to figure out what's important to the mods and what's important to us and how we build a path to making that sustainable and fair and fit in with what people want to be doing and don't want to be doing. And so that's an ongoing conversation, but it's going really well.
It is. Just as a real quick aside,
yeah.
Thank you, Naomi. And Kiwi, I'm not familiar with that YouTube channel. I will check it out today.
What's it called?
Vincenzo's Plate.
I think I've heard of that one, but we haven't watched it. If you don't watch Nate's What You Reckon, please watch Nate's What You Reckon. He's hilarious. He's one of our fantastic favorite.
He's a small, tattooed Australian metalhead who fucking hates jar sauce.
He's brilliant. He's just brilliant. And his entire last video was a Diablo reference, literally involving taking tools out of the inventory and doing the whole thing when you put it in your hand. It was hilarious. So that's one of the things.
Yep.
One of the other things we're going to do is, you may notice we've made a little bit of a change to the chat rules recently. And that's partially as a part of our conversation with the mods, and partially just kind of a general refreshing. I think it's fair to say Alasdair and I never expected to become streamers. We just thought we would try this out while we were on lockdown, like everybody else.
2 years later.
And here we are, a year and a half later, twice a week. So it's a good time for us to kind of come back to what we put in place then, and is it sufficient now? And to be having more conversations about how we want to build a nice, healthy, sustainable platform going forward, because we would like to grow, because with growth comes income, and with incomes means that I can pay my mods more, and that makes me happy. Are you allowed to harass Naomi about wet stab sounds, though? I don't think I would. You could certainly say, hey, Naomi, you make really good wet stab sounds. That would be encouraging as opposed to harassing Beast. And I think I think I'm picking up that you're making a joke there. Well, and if she consents, then who am I to stand in the way? You're adults. Fine. Let's move on. 2 years later. But so one of the things we've kind of updated in the chat rules is something that we've borrowed heavily from Nico. We talk of dreams, about most our stream and lots of people's streams are designed as entertainment and escapism, which is good. They can become communities where people get a lot of social value and a lot of importance out of being here, but it's really easy also for them to be places where people maybe start to overshare or to try to address different needs that the stream isn't addressed to deal with. Discord communities have this tendency as well, which is a long and polite way of saying that we are not trained mental health professionals. And so we appreciate that people may have bad days or have, stronger subjects that they want to discuss in the chat. Trauma dump is as a way of putting it, Naomi. Drew. We would ask you to be very mindful about that, because that sort of behavior has an emotional toll on the moderators, and it can have an emotional toll on us. And that needs to be kind of a consensual relationship. It needs not to be I am here to vent and you are here to listen. That's not kind of the relationship that we're here about. So just some kind of general updates to the chat rules.
Yeah.
We have a full code of conduct that we use for everything in EA, from streaming to our convention attendance to our own appearances. Anger ball swapping we were talking about previously. Excellent description, JJ. Exactly, right? Bad brain day. Good, all really, really good descriptions. It's asking strangers to take your anger ball. Very much so.
Sean has a really, really nice
Wendy,
description
I need a crocheted anger ball, please.
Yeah, Wendy,
thank you.
If you could. Sean at Pseudopod has a really good description of it.
Huh.
Periodically, he will be a little terse in email, and every time he is, he'll go, I'm really sorry, bad brain chemistry day.
And that's fair. That's totally fair. But if you see the chat rules being put in the stream a little bit more frequently, that's an opportunity for everybody to maybe take a second and reflect and go, am I oversharing? Is this really what I want to be talking about right now? As a way of making the environment something that's safe and accessible and comfortable to everyone.
The whole point is this has to be a benevolent conspiracy of joy.
It does. I like benevolent conspiracies. Well, I like conspiracies in general. I mean, look what Naomi and Mick did. God only knows what that conspiracy is going to turn into, right? But
is it the Rico?
It is not the Rico. I love you dearly. Don't make deep cut law jokes for these folks. It's midnight. They're not going to get it. Right? I'm the only one who's going to get it. Right?
Oh, I don't even know what the Rico is. It's great.
Rico.
I've done a law.
Okay. I am not going to go on a tangent and tell you what Rico is. Look up Popat on Twitter if you care. Finally, kind of, does this spark joy or enrich our collective engagement, or does this shut people out if they won't take on carrying your baggage for you? Yep, that's another good summation. What's
the law?
What's the law? Yeah, okay, all right.
Anyway.
Can we get Tim? We should have Tim. It wouldn't so much be an interview as us kind of desperately corralling a conversation.
Should we tell them the thing we had half considered for Halloween?
We're trying to figure out what we want to do for... Well, I'll get back to that.
Okay.
That was a tangent.
Okay.
Nice try.
Okay.
Is marriage anything but making inside jokes that only you get? Well, I like my inside jokes to be accessible. There we go. /marriage /long-term partnership. So... as the final kind of component of this, all right, we've been doing this a while. Time to kick the tires and refresh things. Fresh coat of paint, take out the garbage, that kind of thing. we are taking suggestions for other streamers our channel might want to host. Right now, we have a few people. We have Rusty Quill. We have our good friend Cater Cakes. We have our good friend Merle Lafferty.
Cypher of Tyr.
Cypher of Tyr, who's fucking brilliant. Love her.
Actual active superhuman, seriously.
Super duty superhuman and great content creator, and she's making dice now, and she's amazing. I love her stuff. I see people already jumping in with Nico. We thought that would be the response.
Yep.
We'd love to add Nico on. But what I'm saying is our mods are going to be collecting suggestions as you make them. So if you have someone that you think would make a good person for our stream to host, Anil would be the other one, maybe Helen.
Anil and Helen would both be really good value. They'd be really good guests.
By all means, let's kind of collect some suggestions, and we'll look at building that out a little bit. Because I think this is a habit that's going to stick. Gotta be honest, I mean, it's been 18 months and I have an entire IKEA container full of costumes for this guy. So, maybe we'll do some more stuff. Speaking of more stuff we want to do.
What, really? You throwing to me with that?
Halloween.
Yeah, we're trying to work out what we want to do with Halloween at the moment. If you remember, last year we did the Dark Pictures anthology with Hannah and Alex's fundamental desire to break every system and burn it all to the ground.
Which was lovely, but 8 hours long.
And we're trying to work out whether or not we want to do something else like of that length, or whether we want to do something shorter and punchier. Because there is another Dark Pictures anthology game coming out, and it's Special Forces versus evil demons or evil creatures in the desert. I fucking love that shit. So I'm going to be playing it. It's just whether or not we're going to be playing it here and with people for 8 hours.
Do a spooky RPG and let me run it. Naomi, did you just volunteer? Because the other idea we were thinking about is we thought it would be really fun to play something like Among Us, but more Halloween themed with the mods. And that way, you could get a chance to hang out with the mods a little bit more as well. Are we reading more classic horror? Quite likely, because we haven't done Alasdair's all-time favorite horror story.
We did it for Rusty Quill.
No, you did Horror in the Heights.
That's my all-time favorite.
But you haven't done The Signalman.
Oh, shut the front door.
Right. There's
shut the front door.
Plenty of other public domain classic horror.
Literally any M.R. James.
Haven't done any M.R. James either.
Oh, Whistle and I'll Come to You, My Lad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Box. The Big Well. All of them. It's possible 2 of those are titles I am misremembering.
Yes, but, exactly.
Presenting on BBC Two, The Christmas Ghost Story, The Big Well.
We do already know that we have our guest for October. This is how you end up with a month of Halloween content. What? You mean the horror podcaster, the Mark Shepard of UK audio drama horror isn't enough for a month of Halloween content? Who knew?
So yeah, one of those whiteboards is full of stuff for Halloween for TFL, and mostly it's just excited question marks and exclamation points. Although I did figure out something that's definitely going in it as we were doing the interview with David and Sarah.
Which was?
The Middle Below, which is the best show Tin Can Audio have put out that nowhere near enough people have listened to, and it's absolutely on point, and I would be delighted to talk about it at length.
More creepypastas. Didn't you think about Climber Tim? What's his name?
Oh, Eric the Caver.
Eric the Cave.
As opposed
Climber Tim / Eric the Cave.
Fireman Bill.
Well, he was next. I was getting there. And he prefers William. Thank you.
As opposed to Eric the Pilot, which is the 25-minute Henry Rollins story about what happened when he was kidnapped.
The thing with creepypastas we have to be careful about, of course, is whether or not they are permissible for us to use.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called? The one we did in the park?
Search and Rescue.
Search and Rescue. The author gave permission for people to be able to use that stuff. It's publicly available. I don't know. Climber Tim is being written in right now. Okay, fine. I'm glad Climber Tim is going to make an appearance. Thank you.
Hello, it's a mountain.
He wishes he could climb the Matterhorn at Disneyland, but they won't let him. So he comes to St. Kilda and falls off a cliff because he wants to look at seabirds.
Climb a Tim. That's his battle cry. Climb a Tim.
Maybe he's trying to take a photo of like a rare... Okay, so we just... Okay. We're going to go on a bazillion tangents if we keep this up, and I'm sleep deprived.
Fuck.
Fully voiced reading... Zalia!
That's really good.
Crap! Fully voiced reading of Dracula. Now, Dracula, remember, is epistological. It's letters. But that's my favorite format of story.
Could we do it in 4 weeks? I'm rocking. That's how excited I am. I'm actually rocking.
Tell.
Like,
Alright, how... I'm going to have to do some research and see how we
We're
would
going to do some
split it
science
up.
on this one.
See how we could split it up.
Werner Herzog is Van Helsing.
No! Oh God, he would read the whole thing as Werner Herzog. Oh, that's sold it to the chat. Thanks for that. Is this Climber Tim Meredith? No, I think it's just random Climber Tim. Okay, I will look into it. But first, okay, so here's the thing. There's only so many weeks in October, everybody. I'm sorry. We may have bonus extra Halloween because we need to finish Scarlet Hollow episode 2.
Yes, we do.
Which has at least one part left of, we certainly won't die in this abandoned ancient mine. Why do you ask?
Wait by that abandoned mine entrance. Eventually the teenager will just die. Fuck you.
Zalia, I mean, theoretically, you can even get people to record parts to be played so it isn't organizing everyone into a stream.
Zolia, you're steering very close to something which is probably going to happen at some point in the next 2 years. I need to talk to you about this later on.
Okay. And we have a guest for October. We are going to have the amazing Jordan Shively of Dread Singles and Void merch. Alasdair's fantastic t-shirts collection is going to be our guest. And then the rest of it we could probably fill with a whole lot of Dracula. Especially if we trade off. Yes. So that's not... You could produce a fully cast audio drama.
On no notice.
That sounds like an amazing
Starting
idea.
next week. Okay.
Let me think about that.
Just as a really quick...
Year-long Halloween. I'm with you. I mean,
just
why
as a really
can't we
quick
have
trail
it?
for future content as well, we've been talking to Brandon Connolly, who we did the super fun interactive mystery with earlier in the year. Brendan has a major project coming out before the end of the year called The Ticking World. We're trying to work out whether we can fit him in. We're not sure we can, but if we can't, then he will be back on the show at some point in 2022, because I especially really want to talk about this stuff, because holy shit.
Yep, hang on. Zalia and Duck, would you grab that We Shall Never Lack the Means of Life author AO3 profile explicitly okays podcasts of their fic? Ooh. And at the very least, if they have an AO3 account, then I can
kudos the hell out of them.
And I can message them and say, hey, is this okay? Which would be cool. Nice. Excellent. Thank you, Duck. I really appreciate it. Because winter nights are ghost story nights. Yes, totally. I mean, everything from October 1st to January 1st. I'd say February 1st. Let's get creative.
David S. Pumpkins, baby.
Yes, we know you like spooky stuff. We will find more spooky stuff. By the way, feel free to find more interactive game stuff like Scarlet Hollow that needs voicing. That's really, really fun. We really like doing that. Oh, winter is like, woo! Woo! Yes, exactly. And then in February, we have haunted love stories because we don't want to give up the spookies.
Yeah, the best kind.
So yeah, lots coming up. Lots to do. Mr.
Hello.
Big Pants over here.
I do not have... No, actually, I do have pretty big pants.
You're Mr. Okay, Mr. Awesome Pants.
They're also pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie.
Spoop everything. Yeah, that could be our hat. Spoop everything.
It's been a really
Japanese creepypasta? Ooh, that sounds good. As long as we're not being appropriative, I'm fine with that.
Hi.
You want to tell them where we're coming up next while I have a sip of my tea?
Yeah, you can find us next, this coming Friday.
Today is Wednesday, so that means Friday.
When our Hugo and BFA award-nominated newsletter, The Full Ed, will go live to just over 1,000 inboxes.
More than 1,000, yeah.
This week is a lot, because a lot's happened. I'm sorry in advance. There's probably a lot of editing to be done.
Oh, okay.
But
that's okay. I have a meeting at 10:30, 11 p.m. tomorrow night, so it'll keep me occupied.
Alrighty, there we go.
No sleep for Marguerite. Anyway.
So that's going to come out tomorrow. Oh, not tomorrow. Jesus, don't scare me like that, me.
No, that's. Oh, no, it is
Shut
going to
up!
come out
Shut
tomorrow.
up!
It's
Shut
after
up!
midnight. You're
Shut
right.
up! It's still Wednesday.
Fuck you, but I love you.
If you didn't sleep, it's still the same day.
True. That's
Move on.
That's
Move
the rule.
on.
That's the rule of all night gaming. It's not tomorrow till the sun comes up.
Anyway, then on Sunday, which is not quite my birthday, we will be doing some form of stream. We might be doing Sexy Space Idiots. We might be cooking pasta. Who knows,
We
man?
might be doing both.
Might be
Let's
doing both.
Be honest, I haven't thought that far ahead. I got to get through tomorrow first.
And then next Wednesday, we will be going into a mine to find Professor Hotstuff's teenage daughter in Skull Hollow, Part 2, Episode 4.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo, starring
Woo-hoo!
Augustus Shabadoo.
Let's not cook the Sexy Space Idiots. But why aren't we cooking some of their dishes? Because you want pasta, and he hasn't made a pasta dish yet, have
He hasn't made a pasta dish yet.
He's made a noodles dish, haven't he?
Yes,
That's
but
like just teeny tiny thin pasta. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
so thank you very much, both to everyone to everyone in the audience, to the amazing David and Sarah. We had so much fun
thank
talking
you very
to them.
much for joining us, Dave and Sarah. That was delightful.
To our incredible mods, to the amazing you,
To the amazing me.
the amazing
What
you,
about the amazing you?
and I'm pretty great.
You're
I'm
also
actually- I'm
pretty
actually
damn
pretty
cool.
great.
I mean,
So,
look,
you know.
I have proof. I have proof. He's
She's
pretty
going to
damn
put that
great.
in a sock and belabor me around the head with it the next time I do that.
I'd really like to get him a really tall, shiny rocket to be able to do that with, too. Just saying. But Hugo voting doesn't close until November.
If it happens, it happens. And honestly, and I've not even said this to you yet, it does strike me that if, I'm up for 4 Hugos and get none, it's not like the year's been a bust in award terms, now is it?
I know, but rocket. Anyway. Thank you.
Anywho.
Right. All right.
We will see you in some form on Sunday and definitely on Friday. Thank you very much. I've been Alasdair.
I've been Marguerite.
And this has been fun. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you later. Good night, everybody. Bye.